Hi everyone, I would like to welcome you to our Pathfinder Basic Staff Training course. This is Master Guide Rafael Carado, and this afternoon we are going to discuss about club programming and planning, how to plan and run the Pathfinder Club. And I would like to share to you some of my basic experiences and theories from our manual. And to start with, let us bow our heads as we pray. Our Heavenly Father, we seek your presence, Lord, as we start our study this afternoon. May that you will bless us and help us, Father, understand what we are going to do in our club. We believe, Heavenly Father, that running a Pathfinder Club is a ministry, so help every young people as they continue, Father, to learn. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Okay, to start with, let me share to you my slides. Okay, club programming and planning. Under this lecture, we could see two objectives. Number one, to develop familiarity with activities and features that form the Pathfinder program. This is very important because many of our young people were not able to experience studying in our elementary schools and our academies, and many of them also did not experience having Pathfinder Club in their local churches. Therefore, knowing some of these activities and features is really important in order for you to become a good leaders of your Pathfinder Club in the future. Number two, to provide a background for leaders to plan and coordinate a successful ministry within the local Pathfinder Club. So let us always remember that Pathfinder Club is a ministry, and every individual who is involved in the Master Guide training should always see to it that you have in mind that the Pathfinder Club is a ministry. And being a leader in that club, the program and the success of that club is depending on your programming and planning. Lao Tzu, one of the Chinese philosophers, says that a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. And, planning is very important. According to most successful people, one of their top priorities is taking time to plan, because they said that a failure to plan is to plan to fail. And that is very true wherever you are and whatever organization you are in. Planning is very important. And as a leader, you should really take time to plan, because a good planning you will be able to have a good and successful programming. Programming in the Pathfinder Club may be divided into yearly activities, monthly activities, and let us say weekly activities. There are things to consider in planning the year's activity. We have the recruitment and induction service, source and grooming new officers, honor and classes to be taught, values to be imparted, community service projects, outdoor activities, excursion, camps, and Pathfinder Day investiture. See, as you notice, we started with induction and ends with investiture. Now, let us start with recruitment and induction activities. You have to consider who are the ones that you are going to enroll in your club. So you have to recruit. Unlike, in the school setting, there are captured students already in the academies and in the elementary schools and even in the colleges. Want to run a club, there are some students who are already enrolled in the club, so they don't have choice because they have grades. But in the church, you have to recruit before you can do your induction ceremony. So in planning, you can start asking question, whom are you going to recruit, when and where are you going to do the recruitment, and how are you going to do the recruitment. Because recruitment is important in a sense that you don't have captured members of the Pathfinder Club. Some of the Pathfinder leaders are printing flyers to distribute to their neighborhood and recruit some of the children around and let them join in the Pathfinder Club. You have also to, of course, do your schedule as you try to recruit some students so that the parents will be able to know what time you will be doing your Pathfinder program. During the recruitment, you can do the following. You can ask someone to make a testimony for your Pathfinder Club, like former Pathfinders and the parents who are involved in the Pathfindering program. You can also show pictures, and edit some videos and show them your activities. You can tell parents and kids what will be taught in Pathfindering. You can ask open questions and answers session during the EY program, afternoon program, and you can have your exhibition of crafts and demonstration of skills. If you want to attract the community, you can do marching and drilling or fancy drill in the plaza of that barangay so that children will be able to see and they will be attracted, and you can promote this program to the parents around. See, I love to see this program being implemented in our local churches. It is always my desire to start Pathfindering in a local church rather than Pathfindering in the school. Things to consider in planning. You have also to consider what honor you are going to teach. There are so many honors in the Pathfinder Club. As far as the previous lectures are given, there are so many honors in the club, and there are 8 categories of honors. You can just select what honors are applicable in your community. How many honors do you want to teach in that year? It is part of your planning. You as a leader will be the one who will decide. There is no specific guidelines from the general conference or divisions how many honors you are going to give. It is you as leaders who will choose it. What are those honors? See, you can select different kinds of honors, but be sure that all of those categories must be represented. You have a nature honor, you should have an outreach honor, you should have also a recreation honor, and other honors. Another thing to consider is who will be teaching those honors. Be sure that you have a lot of resource person in your church, or you can tap some of those experts in the church to teach you some of those basic skills. When will they be taught, and when will the honor course finish? So you have to put that in your planning. Can our club afford to do this honor? Because there are some honors who need some expenses. Like, for example, the carpenter, you need resources, you need tools to study carpentry, and also studying small engines and other honors in automotive, including computers. Can you or can your club afford to have those activities? Do you have enough resources? Then those are the things that you have to consider. Another things to consider is to categorize children into their Pathfinder classes to be taught in your church. How many classes do you want to teach? You see, Pathfinder club starts with friend, companion, explorer, ranger, voyager, and guide. How many of those classes you will be teaching? Are you going to offer friend, companion, explorer, ranger, voyager, guide in all classes for 1 year? It's up to you, as long as you have the resources. Does the time permit my Pathfinders to finish the basic and advanced class in 1 year? Do they have enough time to finish? That is why it's very important for you to make a timeline. Spread out the requirements to be taught in the Pathfinder calendar. Have a deadline for each of them. So be sure that all of those honors are being scheduled in your calendar, and in every week at least you can comply 1 or 2 honors. It's up to you. That is why you have to really see to it that all of those requirements are met, and they can be accomplished for 1 year. Another is you have to consider what values to be imparted to your students or to your Pathfinders. What do you want them to learn? You must have a specific objective. Like, for example, about sacrifice, courtesy, filial piety. How can you impart those values, when and where? That those are very important. Are you going to impart those values during camping trip or in a nature hike? It's up to you. For example, how to teach self-sacrifice is one value that a Pathfinder should develop. Another thing to consider is doing outdoor activities and camping. And to do that, you have to really plan in advance where are those places that are suitable for you to visit for your trip, camps, hiking, etc. You have to specify the dates in your calendar when to make those outdoor activities. What will you do when you do your hiking? What will you do during those camps? Remember to consider this. You have to remember that as you plan for the outdoor activities, you have to consider the safety, the cost, the manpower, transportation, permission of the parents, barangay, other people, so many things to consider. And that is why planning is very important. One example of our yearly activities here in CPUC is to bring students for a 3 days hike. And we are hoping that someday, our time will be normal again so that we can enjoy going up to the mountain again, together. And this is one of the best moment of the Pathfindering Club and even in the Master Guide Club. You are also, furthermore, you have also to include community service in your planning. What do you want to do for community? You see, in your church, there are many people watching you every day. Are we able to work with the government or NGO agencies on the project? For example, there is an NGO or government projects that needs to be implemented, like tree planting. Can your Pathfinders be involved in that program? Like, for example, also clean up drive. What kind of program your Pathfinder can be in service so that they will become a blessing to the community. Make sure it is also a sustained effort so as to create an impact and not a firework event. It means that you should not only, do such activity and then never come back. You should really, use your Pathfinders to give an impact to that community, not just simply hit and run. Do we need to raise funds for the project? Like, for example, if you are going to donate some food or, let us say, do some cooking demonstrations or feeding program, do you have funds to fund that activity? Identify yourself by wearing Pathfinder uniforms or Pathfinder t-shirts. That is why part of the planning and programming in the Pathfinder Club and even in Master Guide Club is to plan for, t-shirts of our Pathfinders. We call this Type B uniform. We can ask our Pathfinders to wear their uniform during our community service program. What are some of community projects that you can probably apply in your community? Are adopting a park to take care of? Missionary projects, for example, health clinics, visiting the home of the aged, first aid and disaster relief team, raising funds for the needy, and tree planting, clean and green drive. And there are many more, like doing compassions to the community, giving flowers, exchange of apples to cigarette, and other initiatives are not limited. The point is you have to see to it that the Pathfinder Club that you are running is involved and making impact in the community. One of the example of our community service in the Master Guide Club is when the school needs our help, and that is to plant rice and even to harvest rice. Sometimes I am bringing my master guides to the rice field and let them experience planting rice. Some of them, told me that it was their first time to plant rice, and another is we help the community dig their CRs or whatever programs that we can do in the community. Another thing to consider in planning for the year's activity is to look forward for the Pathfinder Day and the investiture program. See, every year we have the worldwide church celebration of the Pathfinder Day, and it is in the month of September. And coming month, we will be celebrating our Pathfinder Day. Also, the investiture program. The investiture program is the day that is compared to graduation in school. It's time for them to move up from one class to another class. If they are friends this year, they must be companion next year. That is why investiture is really very important. When are you going to do it? You should include that in your planning. Advertise the occasions well. Those are special day in the Pathfinder Club. Who are the invited speakers? You can invite, youth directors. You can invite some of the district pastors in order for them to become a guest to your Pathfinder program. What kind of program will we have during this day? Well, for the Pathfinder Day, usually we have the layout program from the General Conference, and for the investiture, for those of you who are running the club, for our investiture, we have the Pathfinder investiture ceremony, sample of that program in the Pathfinder administrative manual. Plan for all the Pathfinders to be in full uniform and decorate the church well with a Pathfinder ambience. Yes, make that day special. Those days are very important in the Pathfinder community. Try to celebrate Pathfinder Day and investiture program with special food prepared, special program prepared, and also try to make the environment suited for that special program. So that is the time when the club artist should really function hard. For example, as you celebrate the Pathfinder Day and the investiture service, you have to really make it beautiful celebration because it is a time for our Pathfinders to celebrate. Another thing to consider in planning for the yearly activities is to plan for our resources and our human resource. Remember that people come and go. Because of this, we must constantly look for new people to serve in the club. Yes, like in this school, every year we select new officers for the club because some of those old officers had graduated already. So we need new officers to run the club. So we can do that. That is part of our yearly program to organize new set of officers. Remember that the ministry and program is more important than us. Because of this, we must plan as such that when we leave the club will continue to survive because we have trained the next batch of leaders. And that is true. Sometimes the club die because, we failed to pass our legacy to our next leaders. So when we left the church, the club dies. So we have to really pass our skill to the next generation so that they will be able to continue what we are doing in the club. Those potential officers, even if it is short term, can be recruited from among the church members, club supporters, or even parents of the members as well, senior members of the club. You can find some people who are gifted, who have the skills and the desire to be in the club. See, out of sometimes 80 people being trained in the club, only very few have the heart to be in the club, to support the club. In my experience, some of the students, after they become invested, they run away. They don't serve the club. They just want fun. They just want adventures. If we have camping, they will join. But if we don't have camping, they will not come and show up during the training. But I'm so happy that there are some students and master guides who are really good. They really come and support the club, even though they are busy, but their heart is in the club. So those are the kind of potential officers and leaders that you have to look for. Provide training for those new officers as well as upgrading courses. Yes, that is another challenge for a leader. Every year you have new set of officers, so every year you have to train those new set of officers. That is why sometimes I want to have permanent secretaries and director, but because of this principle that they come and goes, we have to really do our training, and training is very important. And that is why we have to really train our young people to be part of this ministry. Passing the mantle of leadership to the next generation, very important. Some may graduate, but some will be able to continue and will follow the legacy of their past leaders and become leaders of themselves. That is very important. Why some good ideas don't work? What are some of those reasons? There was not enough money. The place was booked by some other groups. There was a calendar conflict. There was no prior announcement. Participants were not informed. All of these things will tell us that what we are planning may sometimes don't work. It means that we have to give space to whatever we plan in the paper. What we have planned in the paper must be flexible enough so that if there are some changes, then we could do and proceed to the plan B and continue our activities. Another important thing in planning and running the club is to plan your budget. Budget is very important because all activities cannot run if you don't have a good budget planning. Planning an annual budget is good stewardship, ensures accountability. A well-planned budget prevents financial disasters. A budget maintains a high level of trust with group members. People won't mind giving if they see the budget has been carefully planned and money is well spent. You see, some of our leaders are good in soliciting, but sometimes they don't know how to give report to the money that they had solicited. That is why you, as future leaders someday, you should really be honest in doing things. Many people will give you as long as you are just honest that all the things that you have asked from the parents, from the members, should really go to the project or to the activities. Meaning to say, let us avoid corruption as we try to run the club. See to it that your budget must be transparent to your members and to the officers of the club. Remember that even a single peso is counted because that money is not yours, it belongs to the Lord. Now, at the end of the yearly program, an evaluation process is very important. After you have made your plan, you have to evaluate your plan. Do your plan or programs meet the needs or the objective of the club? Are they Christ-centered? Do they fit the vision and mission statement of the church and club? Do they include everyone? Are they sensitive to parents' needs and ethnic and gender diversity? Evaluation process of our planning is very important before we could launch a program so that we could foresee what kind of problems that would arise and be able to correct our plan. Some of the question to ask youth to aid evaluation: how would you rate this program? What did you like best and what did you like least? What can we do to improve the program next time? And this could also be done after the yearly program. So evaluation should be included in your planning. So those are the things that you have to consider in doing the yearly program. But aside from that yearly program, you could also narrow down your agenda to weekly club meetings, record cards, conference events, investiture, church rallies. Now, as you start your yearly calendar or yearly program, you should follow, or you can follow month, a 10-month calendar. Meaning to say, try to do your programs for 10 months only. Some of the school starts with May, some school starts with August. Well, in this church school or the school-based program, this starts when the school year starts and ends. Their Pathfinder Club when the school year also ends. So you can follow the school year calendar. Okay? Now, in making a calendar, see to it that you should include your regular meetings of your staff and regular meeting of your members, your scheduling. You should also include your planning for your outreach activities, campouts, and conference activities. You can ask your youth director what are some of the big Pathfinder programs for that year. Like for example, the youth director of the Negros Occidental Conference is planning to have a Negros wide Pathfinder camp. Then you can inline your calendar to that program. And there are some bigger activities, like for example the union-wide Pathfinder camp, and sometimes division-wide Pathfinder camp, and even we have the worldwide Pathfinder camp. And if you have budget, you can bring your club or you can go and attend to those worldwide Pathfinder activities. Now this is an example of your Pathfinder program. You can make your own yearly program. So you have the dates, you have the month here, and you have the specific dates and what are those activities that you will be doing, the time, and then who are expected to come, and then what uniform they wear, who are the in charge of the program, okay? All of those things that are needed in planning. And to let you experience do this, you are expected to or required to submit your yearly calendar. You have to make your own calendar for your Pathfinder club. Now, what are the things that you have to include in planning for weekly planning and activities? In weekly activities, you can follow this certain, as you start your meeting every week, you have to start with reciting the pledge, the law, singing the Pathfinder song, and even your national anthem. And you can start also with prayer and then devotional. And then after that, you can do unit inspection, some little drill or whatever, as long as you still have enough time. Okay? And then you can proceed to a specific honor of the day. Every week, you can assign 1 or 2 honors to be lectured and then to be accomplished by the Pathfinders. Now, after you have done all of those club components and honors, lectures, and drills, you can also close the program by closing exercises like doing the announcement, reciting the MISPA, and then forming the or preparing your unit or your club for a dismissal. Here is another model for a weekly activities, a weekly activity that you can do in your club, like opening ceremony. In some clubs, they really put flags, prayer, inspection, and then drill a little bit. And then they have the devotional. Also, they have this classwork or indoor or outdoor activity, games or fair practice for children, for Pathfinders. Those are important for them to remain alert and active in the activity. You can also do your classwork, indoor or outdoor activity, and proceed to your honors and crafts, and then the announcement and the benediction. And those are the pattern of the program that you can do weekly in your club activities or club meetings. Remember that children have short attention span, so always change activities. Meaning to say, do not, if you want to make them alive, then make sure that your activities are varied. The active learning works better. 20 to 40-minute components. Do not, go beyond that. 1 hour will be the most. Involve Pathfinders in as many aspects of programming as possible, and give them opportunities to voice, to learn, and to lead. And also stick with your time schedule. If it's time to end, you end. Moreover, you can introduce kids to a variety of interests like arts and crafts, household arts, nature, outdoor industries, outreach ministries, recreational and vocational honors. Those are the categories of honors. Provide opportunities for kids to discover new hobbies or even find careers as you try to bring them to those different categories of honors. See to it that your activities must contain information and experiential components, meaning to say, do not only give them lecture for 45 hours, minutes, but give them, chance to experience what you are telling them to do. Part of the weekly club meetings, you should also make sure that the AY class work worthwhile and it is fun. Provide tangible rewards for learning and like for example, honor patches and insignias. Every honor in the honor handbook have the corresponding patches and pins. So as directors, you can order those pins and patches in or from your youth director and let them provide you all of those patches as your rewards for your Pathfinders. And you should be doing it actively with integrity so that the students and the children will be able to see that you are serious in this ministry. Another is encourage and support positive staff morale, which happens through communication and mutual support. Provide clearly stated rules and procedures that are administered equitably. So make the club meetings active, organized, and fun. And you cannot do this if you are not going to plan your activities ahead of time. Help the Pathfinders feel that they are welcome every time you will be having your weekly meeting. It's good if you as a leader can memorize their names and you can call them by their names. Further tips, you can involve Pathfinders in activities with their friends, provide opportunities for meaningful feedback, and try to follow through those feedback. Make sure each Pathfinder has at least one significant adult they can relate to on personal and spiritual issues. Meaning part of your weekly activities is to have, counselors. You can invite some of the adults to be with your meeting to serve as counselors for those children so that, those children will be able to relate their personal and spiritual issues. Another important thing to be included in your planning, particularly in your weekly activity, is to experience successful completion of worthwhile tasks with a sense of purpose. Know that the joy of achievement is the fruit of faithful effort. Feel the satisfaction of achievement, respond by setting high personal goals and by faithfulness in performance. Now, every Pathfinder class or level have their corresponding record cards. And every Pathfinder should receive also their record cards. We call this in our school passport. That is the achievement book. Every time they had achieved, you have to put your signatures there and let them feel that they had satisfied something by getting your signature in that record cards. That is why, as leaders in the club, this is one of the things that you should not forget. Always provide passports for your Pathfinders or record cards. As what I have mentioned a while ago, there are some conference events that you have also to attend, like Campuri, and the Campuri may be yearly. We have Camp Hope, leaders training, okay, and sometimes we have this what we call refresher program for the master guides, and we have also the Campuri for the Pathfinders in the school and Campuri for the Pathfinders in the church. You have to keep in touch with your conference directors. You have also to have special programs like Pathfinder Day in order for you to present your activities and do some annual advertising. You have to remember what you have done in the previous training and let them show in your church during that day and make some very good program, and you can even promote to some of the parents who are attending the program so that they will be able to let their children attend your activities for next year. See to it that your children will also be registered in the club, and in some club they really provide medical forms, parent consent, because in some activities, heavy activities like hiking and sometimes caving, you should always anticipate for unexpected thing to happen, and it's good if they have medical forms from their parents and parent consent from their parents. Make a constant orientation in every activities that you will be doing, particularly on their attendance and behavior policies. And if you are going to require your students with uniform, see to it that parents are involved, so that because sometimes, and not sometimes, most of the time, they are the one providing the need of their children. Pathfinder Day is important because this is the time that Pathfinder members or the members of the Pathfinder clubs will be able to lead out the program in the church. Sometimes parents are very proud to see their children, wearing their uniform in the church. And this is also the time where your neighbors can come to church together with their parents if their parents are not Adventists and they are part of your Pathfinder club, then you can invite all of those parents and let them see their children as they perform their skills inside the church, because you can ask the church board to lead the whole day program. And during the special program, don't forget to display the flag properly. You have to do some entrance of the flag and always recite the pledges and the law and sing the Pathfinder songs, and then give them time. During the special music, you can let them, sing and do some of the sign language song and other songs for the children. And don't forget also to ask for special offering for that day, because that day is the Pathfinder Day. So all of the offering can be given to the Pathfinder Club as your fund for your church. And you can also invite someone to become your speaker and become a special speaker for that day, so that your church members and your Pathfinders will be able to feel that that day is special. Now, by experience in running the club, there are two very important programs that you have to really attend to. That is during the beginning of the year. We call this the induction program. How to do the induction program? You can also access this in the Pathfinder administrative manual. We have the specific program to follow there. You can do induction ceremony during Friday evening, or it's up to the board when they want you to do the program in the church. And there are some rites and ceremonies in that program to make children feel that they are belong to the club and accepted to the club. You can use some of the candles with different colors and recite the meaning of those candles that is being represented. All of those things are again in the Pathfinder administrative manuals. Another special program that you can do is in the field. We call this the tactical inspection. The formation of the club is the time where children will be in uniform and do the parade, and it's time for the youth directors to visit and see the performance of the club, and also it's time for the parents to see their children. So you can have this club formal inspection and parade ceremony program to be done in a yearly manner, and see to it that your children are in full type A uniform. The most important program that has to be attended by everyone and has to be attended by every member of the club is the investiture program. This is the final day of the year where they could attain their graduation to their class. They will be moving up to the next level. It is usually held in a church or meeting place. It is a showcase opportunity for Pathfinders to demonstrate their accomplishment. And during this day, they perform their skills, their varied skills, and there will be special song and a special message to be addressed for these young people also. And your investiture program should be based on the passport that you had provided for them. They will be qualified to move up to the next level if you or they had accomplished the passport. That is why the record cards, the passports are very important. The officers of the club should always see to it that those records are being you know uh, evaluated from time to time, so that you will be able also to know how many of them will be able to do it during the investiture. To add the beauty in the investiture, you can make some awards. You can give some awards like who is the best pathfinder of the year, who is the best camper of the year. And you can also award them the pins and the insignia. You can also award all the honors that they have earned, by giving them patches to be pinned or to be placed on their SAS as part of their uniform or type A uniform. And if you have problem where to get those honors, if you have problem where to get those pins, insignias, and other patches, you can just contact your youth director in your respective conferences. All right, Master Guides, I have given you a lot of those things already. I know you will not be able to decipher all of them, but as we go along with our training, try to learn all of those things by experience. You will just remember what I am telling you by the time we are going to do it. I am planning to have, virtual induction program, in a sense that we cannot do it now in actual, and if possible, all of you will be able to experience it. Be happy serving in your club. Be happy in your training. Try to understand, not for the sake of being enrolled in the Master Guide Club or Master Guide subject. Try to understand the detail of the Master Guide Club as a ministry. You will really enjoy this. Put the Master Guide program in your heart, because by doing so, you will be able to appreciate, the beauty of this ministry as you are going to do it with our young generations in these last days. Our children today need leaders. They need someone who could detach them from the technological world that where they are being hooked with. That is why if no leaders who will understand the science of this ministry by heart, then nobody will be able to continue this program in the church. And that is why pathfinders in the church base are dying, because many of our pastors are just taking master guides just for the sake of being a requirement to be pastors to be. Many of our pathfinders are dying in the schools because many of our teachers are just doing it for the sake of requirements. But I'd like to appeal to you to please put, the pathfindering program in your heart and try to understand that master guide is a ministry. Then by doing so, many more young people will be ushered in the feet of Jesus Christ. And by doing so, many of our children will be brought back to nature, where they could learn, nature rather than being hooked to their computer games. May the Lord will bless you as you continue to study and learn the ministry of being a master guide. God bless. To close this, shall we bow our heads for prayer? Our Heavenly Father, we entrust to you all our future leaders. May that what they have learned is not just for the sake of the requirement, but what they have learned will be uh, placed in their hearts, and it will become a foundation for them to become a good leader of your church someday. May, Heavenly Father, that all of us, in whatever capacity that we have, will be able to serve the club and do the ministry for your glory. In Jesus' name, amen.
Lord, be the center of my life. That everything I do and say will please you in every way. Lord, be the center of my life. So it's no longer I that live it, but only you alone should live it in me. So it's no longer